Hi.
And OMD is still muted. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Boar's Nest and Turnbuckle Studios proudly bring to you its Raw Preview Review Show. I am your host, OMD. I am joined, as always, by the right hand of the Boar's Nest, the Bulkster, and our good friend, my partner in crime from the Raw Patrol and various other shows, Mr. Chris Parrish. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Good.
Doing well, thank you.
Excellent.
How are
Excellent.
you?
I am doing very well, thank you. I've had a very quiet weekend and a very happy Canada Day to everybody out there who may be watching. And for the Bulkster, I know you're not going to be around Thursday for the Boar's Nest, so we will wish you a very happy 4th of July here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's actually Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day.
Yes, we know that Bulkster will be in Depends on July 4th.
Independs.
Independs, none the richer, right?
All right. So we do have a fair bit to cover here tonight leading into Raw. So let's start with a breakdown from last week. We get Ludwig Kaiser defeating Braun Breaker via DQ from Sheamus.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we all know that this is going to go and transcend into a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title. We know that's going to be the plan, unless we see something big happen, as maybe a title switch with at Money in the Bank on Saturday. But yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely, that's just the side feud right now, and you're just getting this, and it's a great little way of giving us new competition as they fade Chad Gable away from the Intercontinental Championship right now.
I'm going to lead, like with this match, I think it's going to play a big role in another match that we will see and we will preview later tonight, and I will explain that when we get to it. Bulkster, your thoughts on the match?
I thought the match was great. Breaker versus Iliad, that is like, wow. I mean, Braun is just on fire. Ludwig also is. Yeah, Ludwig, Braun and Ludwig are both on fire. I mean, just what they've been doing lately is just French kiss. French kiss. And I think
if you want a French kiss, Ilya, that's all on you, buddy.
Leave it for the Yankee on Canada Day to mess it up, right?
Right.
And I mean, you got Sheamus involved now. Sheamus, and then you got Chad Gable. I mean, all this is going to be so interesting to see how they tie it all together. Of course, like you said, maybe a 4-way at SummerSlam. That would be a big match for that PLE. And Sami Zayn, not Chad Gable, but Sami Zayn in that. Putting the odds against him, though. I mean, we'll see how this Money in the Bank goes with Braun. I don't think people are going to want to keep seeing interferences keep on, because then you're like, just get to the dang point here, you know? So anyway.
No, I'm with you there 100%. I'm getting tired of it. I also don't want to see Braun just steamroll everybody. I want him to actually have a convincing match, not just a squash constantly. You know, we're looking at right now, they've announced it as him versus Sammy at Money in the Bank 1-on-1. But I think Parrish hit it right on the head, as we are going to see that fatal four-way. Next up from last week. Sorry, Parrish, go ahead.
Well, I'm not saying because really the reason why Braun has gotten this title match was the backstage encounter that he had with Sammy, who he asked point blank. He wants his shot and he wants that Money in the Bank, which was granted. It was then made official by birthday boy Adam Pearce. My thing is, right before all that, he was getting frustrated by everyone getting involved in his business. I think that could be a foreshadow to what we could see with a straight up singles match with Braun and Sammy, is that people get involved of Braun's business, which I think is a great way for him to not win the title.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, women's Money in the Bank qualifier. Lyra Valkyria defeating Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I'll let you start with it, Terry.
The match was decent. Like I said, out of the three, initially I think I was thinking Kairi Sane because of double teaming the Damage and Control because the other Money in the Bank from the previous week. But then having Lyra, I mean, they're trying to make her into a star really fast for a top face, which is fine. She does have a lot of talent. I just think Shayna has a lot to offer. They just haven't found the right place for her yet, or maybe she needs to change her gimmick up a little bit. I don't know. Something's missing with Shayna, so I think Lyra was the good choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what was missing, and I think we started getting it a little bit back during her NXT run, especially with the stuff with Lola Vice. And we did see it a little bit in this triple threat match, and that is her aggression. And that is her just wanting to go out and wreck people, hurt people, smash people, whatever it is. But it's that aggression that Shayna Baszler had that once made her a very liable threat to Becky Lynch before she took that maternal break just well throughout just before all the pandemic stuff. I thought Lyra was a right choice. I love the fact that everyone in these matches, these Money in the Bank matches, are people that really are new to the game. And I think that is one of the best things, because this is exactly how you now start to create new superstars, new main eventers, and new people that you can build your company around. I think Kairi Sane, man, it's really unfortunate to see kind of she just being put back in the place she was before she left the company. But really, I think right now she is just the third wheel that nobody seems to care about in Damage Control. And as we all know, she is a fantastic pro wrestler inside the ropes, but her inability to really establish a connection as a heel, I think that's what's really damaging, pun intended, for her right now. And I think right now Lyra has that sympathy from the crowd. She has that connection with the crowd, especially now with Becky being out. She's kind of that unsung fight from underneath baby face that they need. And I think she's going to do very well in Money in the Bank.
I get where you're both coming from. And I, for one, I've always stated I do not want to see the rocket ship strapped to Lyra. I'd rather her build and build and build. And it's just because we've seen it happen so many times. These new faces get the call up, they get the world handed to them, and then in 2 years, they're mid-card and not really doing anything. I'd rather see her build consistently and then get her way up there. I would be okay with a triple threat match or whatever at SummerSlam, where she doesn't have to necessarily take the fall and keeps her as that competitor. I think you're right, too, though, about Kairi, although I do think that Dakota is probably more that lost wheel because Damage Control has not had much success in any capacity since moving to Raw.
No, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I don't think the Bayley cultivation of winning the championship really helped anything. I think by the time that WrestleMania match happened and it was over, I think people were just ready to move on. And I don't think that's a good thing for Damage Control, nor is it a good thing for Bayley. The problem, I think, with Damage Control is that you need somebody who is English spoken first and knows how to get the heat. I think Natalya would have been a better choice to be put in that leadership position. But I really think the problem is lying with Dakota of getting that group over, but I don't think Kairi's helping by being a forgotten piece of the puzzle.
Right.
And then also losing somebody like Asuka, who's also not given it that star power, because Asuka really is a star. And I would kind of counter with this rocket strap to Lyra just because she was given an opportunity. She lost in the finals in a very impressive fashion to Nia Jax. I don't think she's going to win Money in the Bank. Therefore, I don't see there's been a rocket because she hasn't won anything. She's just getting to it yet. And I think that's a really good building block for her.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, and to your point there about Asuka, I mean, with her out now through at least the end of the year, as she announced today, that's not going to help Damage Control. So now where do they go? As you were alluding to with Shayna Baszler as well, like I'd love to see her get that aggression back. You know, she went to Bloodsport over WrestleMania weekend and wrestled Masha Slamovich. And then she's come back, had that aggression at NXT with Lola Vice. I know they're trying to focus on her and Zoe as a tag team and developing that, but I think Shayna is one that needs to strike out on her own. And I hate to say this because I do not want to use Ronda Rousey's words, but she needs to become the killer that she once was.
Yeah. And that's where I think the aggression really will play a huge factor. This is why I think putting her with maybe Zoe Stark, but adding maybe a Sonya Deville to the group would actually benefit it, because having maybe Sonya act as like a Paul Heyman wise man to Ronda or to Shayna. My apologies, Shayna. I think that would actually just do amazing wonders for Shayna to then she could almost act as that Brock Lesnar. She doesn't have to speak. She can just go out there and beat people up.
Right.
But there has to be that commitment from the book, and they're not so much creative, but just that commitment to go with her as well, because that was very much a hit towards her early on. Was she was good enough to get there, but she was never the person to be that person, as she didn't beat Becky for that title.
Now, you alluded to Natalya earlier as well as a member of Damage Control, but we've seen that Natalya pulled the Owen Hart line of enough is enough and it's time for a change in talking with Sonya. We saw Zoe Stark go to Sonya last week and say, okay, can we talk? Do you see this as a new four-woman stable? And maybe something to help get Damage Control, that fourth member, maybe move them to a babyface role?
It's possible. Have we got confirmed that is Natalya still under contract?
As of right now, yes.
So yeah, if they can make something happen, because she's just stale. I mean, she's just an enhancement, but she could do this to help Shayna and Zoe, enhance them, and all three, and do something interesting, different, a heel for her. I mean, she's been heel before, but hasn't really panned out. I don't think it's been really strong. But I think this could really work with Sonya's, I don't think Sonya is really an active wrestler. She's more of the manager type part of it. But I think that could work.
Okay. Next match, we had Chad Gable defeating Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed in the Money in the Bank qualifier as well.
I love it. I love it. I
love it.
I love it. I'm a big Chad Gable mark. I think what he's doing now is just excellent. I mean, he's always been talented in the ring. Now his personality and the way he can get the crowd against him or with him shows what a talented star he is. Like I said, he's probably up there with Kurt Angle, or getting there. I think we haven't seen the best of him yet, and I think there's more to come. But yeah, him beating them two. Yes, there was shenanigans for this to happen, with the Judgment Day and stuff with Braun Strowman. But I thought it was odd that he did a moonsault to finish the match instead of his normal move that he normally does, but it worked. So
Parrish?
Yeah, and I thought, well, one, it's amazing just the recovery of how he went almost from being dead or to accused or presumed to be dead to now being so lively that he can win a match. Yet in the back, he needs help, and he badly needs help. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a tad kind of befuddled with why they're going this route. Now, I do love the fact that he advanced. I love the fact that Chad Gable has a tendency, or now, has now an opportunity to be Mr. Money in the Bank, and I think Chad Gable could be a strong favorite to win Money in the Bank, which I think is good because I do think you should have some people in the match that are considered favorites and some that are considered dark horses, some underdogs. It just makes for a great story going in. However, after that, you saw him kind of apologize to Alpha Academy, only to then have the Creeds kind of show up, and now there's that whole surrounding thing. I don't know what we can expect with Chad Gable. All I know is this was a great match that it was either between Bronson Reed and Chad for me. I'm glad Chad won. I like the fact he won with his moonsault, and the reason why is because it's something that didn't involve him having to outlift any of his opponents. He didn't make any of them look weak by putting him in an ankle lock to tap out, and it didn't. He didn't need to show off strength. He needed to show off resiliency in that match, and I thought he did just that by taking that risk from upstairs with that moonsault.
Right. I'm going to pose this one. So let's say Chad goes on to win Money in the Bank. Do we see him wait almost a year, or do we see then at SummerSlam Gunther win? So then we get that potential Chad Gable versus Gunther on that cash in for a show in Minnesota.
I would think the person who once represented America in the Olympics could try to go after a guy who likes to call himself an American Nightmare. I wouldn't want to see Chad Gable in a babyface role. I think he's doing too good of work as a heel right now, and I don't know if I'm ready yet for that feud to be revived with Gunther, who may or may not be presumed a babyface, and if he is, it wouldn't be enough time for us to really separate what they've done to what they're doing.
Right.
That's just my personal opinion.
No, I get it. I appreciate where you're coming from. I am thinking, long term. So we know that he would have until Money in the Bank next year to cash in, which unfortunately I'd like to see him be able to do it and maybe carry that Money in the Bank briefcase to SummerSlam next year. That gives us that year's worth of time, whether Gunther turns face or is that still that in that heel role, and Gable is, whether he's heel or gone back to face, we don't know, or whether they're both in that in-between stage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless they change the rules of the Money in the Bank, normally they have up till WrestleMania to cash in, not till the Money.
It's a year of when they won it. It was just always presumed WrestleMania because at that point, WrestleMania had the Money in the Bank ladder match.
I don't think. Okay, so if he does cash in after WrestleMania, he'd be the first one to do it because no one's held it on that long.
Seth and Damian both cashed in at WrestleMania.
No, I'm saying no one has waited till after. I mean, like I said, I always thought the ruling they said that you have to.
Ziggler did. Ziggler did.
Ziggler did.
He did it the night after.
Yep.
Okay.
He was the night after WrestleMania when they had the rematch with Del Rio and who was it? Swagger, I believe.
Okay, I just didn't remember that one. I just always presumed it was WrestleMania was the cutoff, and then they had to figure out what they were going to do for the next Money in the Bank.
Yeah, no, it's always a year from when they win.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defeating Casey... Oh, non-title, sorry. Defeating Casey Squared.
I have no idea why this wasn't a title match if the idea was to have the champions win the match. It would have made the titles more relevant. It would have made the champions look better as actual champions. And then at the very least, KC Squared, they lost a title match. So it would have helped them. But I understand why they didn't get a title match, because why are they just given one after not really doing much?
Mm-hmm.
But I did like the match. I thought it was great to see the KCs get that opportunity, be back on television as they should be. And I love the fact that the Unholy Alliance of Isla Dawn and Alba Fire are getting an opportunity to showcase what they're capable of after being silent for as long as they've been, and people wanting them on their TVs.
Yeah, and then, like I said, to finish it, you had the Damage Control come out and attack Alba Fire. So it looks like we're going to get one of the three, Kyrie, Dakota, or EO, teaming up to face them at some point. So it looks like they're not done with the tag titles. Like I said, I am interested in, like I said, EO and them. They need a lot of help, but hopefully this whole Damage Control needs to change, and whatever that might mean, hopefully it comes to fruition pretty close soon, because people's going to get bored.
Right. I mean, I know I can speak for myself as much as, like, I love Dakota Kai. For me, she is the highlight of Damage Control.
Yeah.
But I'm bored with them because they're not being that dominant faction that they were allowed to be on SmackDown, or that they were written to be on SmackDown. They're now this job squad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think what sucks too with it is that they just don't have an equal counterpart that could put them in a fight for a reason. Like, there is just no why to what they're doing, and I think without that why, there's no investment from the fan base. It's just like, okay, they're doing this now. Okay, cool. It just seems like it's a throw in to have them incorporated in our screens. Because right now I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm just thinking, okay, the rematch for the tag titles is right there with Bianca and Jade, right? Like, that should be a thing. So are we gearing up to a triple threat match for the tag titles? Because if that's the case, I don't really understand it, because Bianca and Jade kind of had to defend their titles against so many teams. Why can't they get that one-on-one opportunity to fight for the championships that they didn't lose in a one-on-one match?
And I'm with you there, like, because I think we should get Bianca and Jade, and then maybe you could build up to a triple threat or a fatal four-way with Bianca and Jade out of the picture at SummerSlam, with Damage Control, with KC Squared, and maybe with Zoe and Shayna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I think right now I just see too much chaos in the women's tag team division, and I would like a clearer picture of what's going on. And I think at the very least, we're talking about depth in the women's tag team division, which is something we haven't been able to say in a very long time. And we're seeing the depth play on TV, which is a great thing to see.
It's wonderful. It's amazing.
Wonderful.
Yes. Then we get what we all considered to really be the throwaway match of last week, which was Karrion Kross defeating Kofi Kingston. I know this was a match that none of us were really looking forward to.
Hey, thank God Karrion won. That's all I care about.
I mean, I don't mind it. Like I said, they're doing something, at least something. I find it somewhat interesting. I always like to see what the end what happens at the end. Like I said, are we going to see Kofi turn on Xavier turn on Kofi? What's going to be the end game? I mean, hopefully something substantial comes from this instead of it just not doing anything. But I honestly thought Karrion did pretty good at putting his finishing move at first. When he first came back with that new finishing move, I was like, man, that's so slow. But it's picked up a lot better. He's done it a lot faster, a lot better. I think it all depends on the person, how light they are, and how quickly he can do it. But regardless, I'm invested a little bit to, I want to see how it plays out. And, um, it gives me something on TV. I mean, they have to do something to fill these 3 hours.
Right. And now onto our main event. We had the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough defeating the Awesome Truth for the WWE Tag Team Championship or World Tag Team Championship.
Which I'd like to take the time to successfully say that I predicted this midway in the show.
Yes, you did.
That we were going to get. Everything just seemed to be aligning to Liv helping the Judgment Day win, because it's just going to further confuse that whole story to, is she really there to get inside the head of Judgment Day? Is she there to help? But now she's sneaking into that territory of, well, does JD and Finn believe she's there for good intentions, because they're seeing nothing but good things happen to them, especially Finn, since Liv has been coming around. So it's hard to really hate on her when good things happen to you. And then the only person who seems to dislike all this stuff is Damian Priest, who, well, let's just say he's been trying to put out all the fires in Judgment Day while trying to focus on a very heavy match with Seth Rollins coming up this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, I thought the match was fantastic, though. I thought even if The Miz was involved, I thought it was great. We love the fact that the only reason why this match was put on is because Liv asked R-Truth for the match, and Liv thought it was Carmella, and he was going to do anything for Carmella, and that was the case. Which also, I'm just going to flat out say, expect Carmella to be back sooner than you think, given the fact that they're saying her name on TV. I think that's an Easter egg to expect her back. And then what I love too is it then later gave us a reason that if they wanted to split up Awesome Truth, you kind of had your reason with Miz getting so upset at R-Truth. He could snap on R-Truth if he wants to, and he has every right to, because he's trying to be a champion where people respect, and now he's basically that hardworking employee that all that he gets is overtime after overtime after overtime, because he's trying to do Pat McAfee's job, who wasn't there, not because of the Wyatts, but because his father-in-law passed away. So all the condolences to the McAfee family on that. But there's just no winning with The Miz, quite literally, as R-Truth really talked himself into a corner, and then Carmella, I guess, really screwed him at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought the match was good. Like I said, I wasn't horribly disappointed in Judgment Day getting the titles. Two different members. I mean, Finn's the same, but JD gets his flowers to, after being the butt of the joke there for several weeks, months. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. The whole Liv and the storyline's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there, how it's going to progress. Then, like I said, you're hinting at Carmella. My question is that when she comes back, I mean, they're going to have to figure out who has the copyrights of Mello is money or whatever, because you have Carmelo Hayes, they're saying it, and then you got Carmella that always says Mella is money.
Mello gave up the Mello is money. It's now Mello don't miss.
Oh.
Well, it's simply because the OG was Carmella. She was there first. She said it first. And hey, it was him who stole it.
Yep.
Maybe they could be a tag. Maybe they could be a duo.
The mellow money is him and hers.
But, and I'm going to ask this, if we are going to anticipate Carmella back, we know that WWE likes to keep families together. Would that not hint at Carmella returning on SmackDown, where Corey Graves is the lead broadcaster?
Yeah.
Well, then we can get a lot more on the whole who owns a trademark between her and Carmelo, as he's also on SmackDown.
Yes, he is.
But I mean, who's to say? Because right now, the unfortunate thing with announcers is they kind of go to wherever you need. And yes, we see one on SmackDown already, and that is Corey Graves. But you never know, because WWE has a tendency of saying, "Hey, certain announcer, we're going to wish you well in your future endeavors. Hey, Corey, can you put more overtime in?"
Right.
So, I mean, who knows? But all I know is that whenever she does come back, she's going to add a very refreshed flavor into the women's division that I think is always needed.
Yes. When Michael Cole retires, we're going to get Josh Matthews back with Pat McAfee.
If we do, I'm going to do something I regret. Josh Matthews can stay away from the company I cherish. Please.
All right. And on to tonight, we have Zelina Vega to challenge for the Women's World Championship.
Yeah.
Is this that let's give Zelina a match for the sake of giving her a match because she is so always present? Is she that female employee that's giving overtime after overtime after overtime? So let's give her that token match.
Well, I don't think we've seen this duo face it between each other. So, and she fits. It'll be a really fast-paced match, probably a really good match because they're the same size and like a big difference in body size. So I'm excited to see what they do in the ring. Yes, right now, I guess you could say they're intertwined with Dom and the LWO and that kind of thing. So like, hey, this kind of makes sense. I don't think they really know what to do with Liv as in like a challenger because she's so invested in the Judgment Day. So this kind of makes sense to have her go against Vega since she is a part of the LWO and it's kind of tied with that. But I don't think she's going to win it. I think Liv will probably win clean. I don't think there'll be any craziness.
I mean, who could possibly come down and help, right? There's just the other part of the LWO, whose leader, Rey Mysterio, is only currently in a match that's tonight against his son, Dominic Mysterio, who happens to be trying to push Liv as far away as him as possible because she is trying to get involved between him and Mommy, but then also somehow is also striking a chord of loveliness with the new World Tag Team Champions in JD and Finn, who also are a part of Judgment Day. I couldn't see how there could be a clean finish to this match when you have all of the chaos rolled in.
There's always hope.
So since you brought that up, do we somehow see this match, this women's title match, essentially taking away that Dom versus Rey match and becoming a mixed tag?
That's exactly what I think is going to happen, and it should, because one, I don't think there needs to be a winner between Dom and Rey unless that winner happens to be Dom, because as we know, we saw this match before at WrestleMania where Rey Mysterio defeated Dom at WrestleMania 39. And I think if I'm ever going to see this match again, the stakes need to be a lot higher than what they are. But also, if it happens to be the third match in their little chapters, then I think Dom needs that win to even make it a noticeable thing. But I'm okay with a non-finish here as long as it leads to something of relevancy. And that is Judgment Day can come out to help Dom. LWO can come out, and all of a sudden we see Liv and Zelina start fighting it out, and then Adam Pearce comes and makes that women's match official. It's right now. Ring the bell. And then we get our old-fashioned brouhaha that we all love and enjoy with the LWO and Judgment Day, which I think, hear me out, could be ended by Damian Priest trying to be involved and Seth Rollins stomps him, holds up the title. That is how you should end Raw. That is my prediction.
Okay. I'm with you on Dom either needing the win versus Ray or the non-finish. We all know that I'm not big on this match because, quite frankly, we've seen it. I don't need to see it again. But if you're going to get the payoff and that third match, I need it to be Ray's retirement match at SummerSlam.
Or a giant PLE in Mexico.
Yep.
As Chris Van Vliet alluded to on his interview with Rey Mysterio,
yes,
that could be a big deal.
Yes,
man, imagine Rey Mysterio losing his mask and his career to his son in a big PLE in Mexico. That would be huge.
As Ray said, he wanted a triple threat with Dom and Santos.
Yeah, I think he just wants all the Mexican and luchadors in the ring at one point.
Right, so let's make it a four-way and add Andrade, but let's make it a Legends Battle Royal too and add La Parca.
Only Conan's the referee, right?
Right.
Oh, and by the way, the Oilers are bringing back Matthias Janmark. Boom.
Nice.
I'm happy. He's a stud in the video game too, by the way.
In what I think is going to be the main event of the evening tonight, the men's Money in the Bank qualifier, the hardest hitting match in the qualifying. And this is a match that I was going to allude to from earlier on when we previewed or reviewed it from last week, and that is Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Ilya Dragunov.
Yeah.
And this is a match where you can see so many different stories play out, and let's leave the obvious one on this for last. But with Sheamus, you've got that Braun Breaker feud, you've got Kaiser. So I think those two are going to cause shenanigans. I've got Dragunov to win this match.
Yeah, I do too. I think. Sorry, this is just leading into the point I made earlier. I apologize, Jerry, because I kind of wanted you to start this off. But I love the fact that, again, it's going to people who haven't been there yet. Drew has been there. Sheamus has won it. So, yes, he's been there. And they both have other stuff going on. I said this doesn't need to be a thing, yet LA Knight is in there. And, well, he has other stuff going on, too. So, I think Ilya being in there just gives this just a feel of something big is going to happen, because that's all you get when you watch Ilya wrestle. Obviously, I think we're going to see some shenanigans in this match. Kaiser clearly could cost Sheamus, and a straight edge man by the name of someone I'm sure Terry you'll say later on will get involved to help get some revenge on Drew. On to you, Terry.
Like I said, I would love if the beatdown that Drew gave CM Punk on SmackDown lasted more than a week or a few days. I think it'd be more interesting to see Drew McIntyre win this Money in the Bank with that bracelet on, saying, I'm going to do this. And he does. He wins because of interference from Kaiser, maybe Sami Zayn, who knows. But Drew sometimes come out ahead and then Ilya Dragunov can get pulled into that IC title feud also, and it could be like a fatal 5-way or who knows. But have Drew win, and then at the Money in the Bank, he actually gets screwed over by CM Punk because that gives him a month or whatever of CM Punk rehabbing, and then he comes back and like does something to keep Drew from getting up the ladder or pushing the ladder over when Drew's about ready to grab the briefcase.
But Drew he did the insult last month. It's been it happened last month. It's been enough time. It's actually been 10 days, which I don't think people realize. It's actually been 10 days. Like that, it doesn't seem as long as 10 days ago, but no, it actually has been 10 days.
It happened on Friday, didn't it?
Oh, Friday was in Madison Square Garden. It was a week before that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Chicago.
Never mind.
So
my bad.
I see where you're coming from, and that's why I was leaving the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre aspect till last. Yeah. I do have the Braun Breaker and Kaiser coming out to cause interference in that match to cost Sheamus, but that also furthers that potential speculation that we've had of Dragunov joining Imperium.
I'm the only one who doesn't think that's happening.
Me either.
For me, it's not something I want to see. I'd like to see him stay away from Imperium, but if you're going to do that, him and Kaiser as a team would be fantastic.
I'd rather see Alexander Wolf come back and join it, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
See, the only reason why I don't think Braun is going to get involved in this is because he already has his one-on-one match with Sammy at Money in the Bank. So why would he even worry about what's happening with Kaiser and Sheamus when he's already got what he wants? And it doesn't concern them. So I think we're going to see Braun stay away from this, but I can see Kaiser and Sheamus getting involved in their stuff because Kaiser could still be mad at Braun for spearing him just a little while ago. And then we can kind of see Sheamus kind of just be there based on the fact that Kaiser's there. So, I don't know. And, you don't have to put up the next one. That's definitely a bot.
No, I wasn't putting it up. Chris Best coming in and saying Imperium is kind of split up. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. We will not dispute that in any capacity. But I do see Kaiser coming down because he's got his thing with Sheamus. I don't want to see CM Punk get involved and cost Drew because that's kind of like the same thing we had on Friday with Logan Paul and LA Knight.
What if we don't get an actual CM Punk physical appearance, but just when you're getting a Claymore, you hear Cult of Personality play, and there isn't a Punk, and that distracts McIntyre enough for Ilya then to hit him with his move, because they both have those running into each other maneuvers, and Drew takes that pin because he's distracted by what he thought is going to be CM Punk, but CM Punk's not even there, just to kind of put fuel to the fire that CM Punk is living rent-free in Drew's head.
Absolutely.
That could happen.
And I can get behind that instead.
Yeah, absolutely. I could. Like, I don't need a physical CM Punk involvement. Because like I said, I don't need to see a repeat of LA Knight and Logan Paul on SmackDown in a similar situation.
Yeah.
Again, I would love to see. We know that this is going to be the hardest hitting match, and I think this is your main event match of the night.
It very well could be, and I wouldn't be upset if it was. However, I do think Damian and Seth could be main eventing Money in the Bank, and if that's the case, it very well should main event your show. I mean,
okay. And then
it is the world title.
Right. We haven't even talked about any other potential segments. Maybe something involving the Wyatt Six tonight.
Yeah, and that's very because last week we got an absolute banger of a segment when Uncle Howdy, yeah, I haven't even started beer yet, and I'm already doing that. But Uncle Howdy interviewing Bo Dallas, and I thought that was really well done. He even asked him how he felt about his brother dying, and that got just one of the oh my god kind of reactions because it's something that you just wasn't expecting WWE to put on their broadcast, but it's there in context. That was perfect because it really hits the heartstrings and it really explains to Bo Dallas and to the people and it connects them. It also kind of puts together the Wyatt documentary they had and how it connects the similarities of both wanting to be like his brother and wanting to kind of finish out the story. And anybody who gets mad that Bo Dallas is doing something that his brother once did, I mean, seriously, man, like, get off that whole fantasy GM BS chair that you have and understand that this is family and real family doesn't always want to do their own thing. Family wants to see what their family does succeed. And Bo and Bray always wanted to be a part of each other's careers. And it was going to happen. It was happening before Bray's passing. And the beauty is now Bo can keep this story alive instead of letting it go with Bray. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's amazing. And I can't wait to see what happens next. I really hope we're getting a continuation of these interviews, but instead of Uncle Howdy interviewing all the other people, maybe we get Joe Gacy's character interviewing him. We get Dexter Loomis's character interviewing him. Nikki Cross's character, like we get those. Right. And I think that'd be really interesting. If not, I'd be okay with Uncle Howdy doing the interviewing because he is kind of the sheep herder in here.
Right.
But all I know is I want more. I'm excited to see more. And I'm very interested if they're going to give us something new, something continued, just something, because what they're doing is great.
Right. So we have a comment here from somebody named Chris LeClaire. And I'm going to ask, is that a friend of yours, Bulkster?
Or a yes, it is. Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah.
So he's saying that Drew McIntyre and Dakota Kai are winning tonight. I'm all for Dakota winning tonight. I don't need Drew to have the money in the bank, although it would be a cool for him to qualify for the match and win it, but we don't need it.
No, and I also want to get to this one because it's a really nice thing that he's doing. I want to shout out a happy birthday to Chris, your mother, Grace LeClaire. Happy birthday, Grace.
Very happy birthday, Grace.
Happy birthday. So, I love the Uncle Howdy stuff. Like we was talking about that segment. I'm great. I didn't catch Chris. You want more of this, right?
Oh yeah. Yes. Give me 3 hours of this. I'm good.
I agree. This is cinema, man.
Are we going to, after we get our winner from the triple threat match, are we then going to have a face-off in the ring between all 6 male competitors for Money in the Bank? Are the competitors from SmackDown going to show up tonight on the Go Home show? Or do we leave that for Friday night when everybody's going to be in Toronto?
I think it makes a lot more sense for it to be Friday because as of now, we don't know. Like, there shouldn't be people coming to Raw from SmackDown. But there could be a little bit more of that. There could be a little bit more of that on SmackDown. As you said, everybody's in Toronto. It's a day before the event. And by SmackDown, we will have everyone in the match announced. So it makes more sense to be maybe down the road than it is tonight because tonight would just feel like it's too forced, in my opinion.
Okay.
And are we plan on discussing the final Money in the Bank match for tonight?
Yes, we shall discuss absolutely that. Thank you, Hulkster. We actually have 2 more matches
Oh yeah.
Your Zoe favorite. Stark versus Dakota Kai versus Ivy Nile.
Yeah, I think between that, like you said, Dakota Kai. I would like to see her advance, even though there is another dungeon control person in there. But she, out of the two, Zoe Stark and Ivy Nile, I think they need more work. I know they're freshly new, but Dakota Kai, even though she's been around for a while, she's still new. We haven't seen the best of her yet. So I would like to see her advance, and maybe, I think out of the two damage control, I think EO is already in it, right?
Yeah.
So Dakota Kai would be a good person to have also in the match.
Parrish?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't hate Ivy Nile, to be quite honest. I think this could very well be a great thing for Ivy Nile to be put in this match. When you're in a multi-person ladder match, you can be protected. And I think Ivy Nile is showing, and her showcase in the Royal Rumble match, let's be honest, was amazing. She had a fantastic showing there. So why not give her an opportunity? She's fresh to the Money in the Bank scene. She has something of value. And if by chance you want to do something of worthy with what they have going on, this could be an opportunity. She very well could be that dark horse of Money in the Bank that we need. So why not?
Okay. And I'm with you, Parrish. As much as I would love Dakota Kai to go in, I don't think we need two members of Damage Control in the match. We just had that last year with EO climbing up Bailey's back to win it. I think that Ivy Nile would be the ideal, that smaller participant, much like Chad Gable in the men's, to go in and do it. Be that dark horse, be that, and that powerhouse in that match on the women's division.
Yeah. And we're talking about Damage Control being represented in the tag division or tag title picture. It has to be Dakota and Kyrie because EO's in the Money in the Bank ladder match already. So because of that, I don't see Dakota winning. In fact, I actually see Dakota taking the pin, and that is a result of maybe Maxine trying to help Ivy Nile. Maybe we're seeing Lyra kind of putting in that shot to Damage Control, or we're saying the KC Squares get involved. And right. There's always something going on where it could prevent Damage Control to get the win. And I don't know, there's something about Dakota Kai that I'm just not fully invested in yet.
See, I've been invested in Dakota Kai since NXT. When we lost her for that period of time prior to SummerSlam 2 years ago, I was crushed. And I mean, we got to remember, like, there are still dark horses to potentially return. And as you alluded to in these Easter eggs, Carmella. I know I'm going to mention a name that you're not a big fan of, Chris and Parrish, and I know we haven't had any updates on her health, but Raquel Rodriguez.
I don't like her, not at all. I just think she needs to be more aggressive. I think she was too goody-goody as a babyface, and she needs to be more, I'm going to murder you.
Let's throw another dark horse name that we haven't seen in a while out, in Tegan Knox. I know she's on SmackDown.
I'm going to go on record. I saw a video where she says she's not a fan of pizza. I have this thing where I don't trust people who aren't fans of pizza. I have now trust issues with Tegan Knox.
Okay. All right. And I mean, the fact that, you've got that, again, we talked about the tag division with Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. We could see that coming into effect. I mean, plus let's not forget to mention Shayna Baszler and Dakota Kai's personal relationship outside of the ring.
Yeah. But
not that that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's not. Let's talk about the other match here.
And then lastly, because we've already discussed Ray and Dom, Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's much of the same that we had with Kofi Kingston last week.
I'm
going to give them I'm going to say Karrion Kross wins, and I think we're going to see. I don't know what we're going to see. All I know is I just hope we see Karrion Kross wins. I just don't.
last week we saw Xavier stay in the back for that match and get jumped back there, and that's when Kofi lost the match. Do we see the same thing? Do we see Kofi get jumped in the back, or is he at ringside to protect Xavier?
Part of me kind of hopes Kofi Kingston isn't there to sell the attack from last week. And maybe Xavier Woods goes at this alone and ends up being a victim of the numbers game. I would like that. Therefore, this creates that the two need somebody that they can trust to help their back. Let the speculations go. I don't care. But let's give us a reason of why we should care about the story. That's all I ask.
Okay.
Maybe they need somebody big to help them. Into the knee.
Oh, Omos?
He said it began with a knee.
Into the knee.
Omasi? But yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, I think. Yeah.
On this note,
there's really not much to say in this one.
Okay, let me see here. Where am I? On this note, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hand out our socials in a moment. We're just going to let you know where you can find all of us here, or all of our shows, all of our broadcasts, if I can actually find it. Nope, I can't find it.
What are you looking for?
The video for all our shows.
Oh, I got it right here. Check this out. And yeah, as OMD is still muted, Terry, let us know where the people can find you and what you have coming up.
I do have you can come find me at the Bulkster Show on YouTube and the Bulkster Show on TikTok. Those are the basically only two I use, and generally you'll find my reruns of the Raw review and any simulations I do for the pay-per-views.
Yeah, and you can follow both OMD and I as you stay on the Turnbuckles Studio channel, as well as the Boar's Nest, in just a few minutes as we get prepared to survey the wrestling scene with the Raw Patrol, with Chris Best and possibly Carl Kerfeld and Bubba Duke. So that's why I said possibly. But yeah, so come follow that. Come check that out. That'll do it for today. And everyone, enjoy your time and have a great night.
Thank you very much.